It's a playoff explosion as we kick off our minor league playoff coverage as the Whitecaps, Flying Tigers, and the Erie Seawolves go hard into the playoffs. Experience Gania Vision.
Kevin McGonigal. That's number 7 on the year.
Continue to watch West Michigan's historical run as they go for the Midwest title and Lakeland back in the playoffs. Will they get the FCL championship? Find out as we cover the minor league playoff explosion.
Drilled to right field. That's big.
We got you covered over at TigersMLReport.com. Thanks for watching.
Home run.
All right, that was a little longer intro because I was trying to get some usage of the playoff bed I made Saturday in the broadcast booth with Chris right next to me. We're laughing like little children in the booth. He was at the game. Welcome to another episode of the Tiger Mud Hens Report podcast here at TigersMLReport.com. I am Rohel Castillo. Excuse me. Alongside me is Brandon Day and Chris Brown. Part of my voice is a little bit this evening as between allergies and everything else that's been going on. It's just been like my voice feels like I'm cracking quite a bit. So wanted to give a quick shout out to our friends over at the Screen Shooter and Chill podcast. It's a film and critique comedy podcast hosted by my friend Jamie, along with her two co-hosts, Keith and Kelly. We started during the pandemic. Let's force themselves into watching favorite movies. They're going to weekly dive into film that's equal parts smart and hilarious. So they have segments like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly like we do. And What If Every Character Was a Muppet Except One. So check it out. Every Wednesday, you can wherever you listen to podcasts, over at Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, what have you. So I put the link in the description like I did last week. I'll do the same thing for this one. So, but welcome everybody. I know that the taste of the White Sox, there was a stat that I was telling Chris about this earlier, Brandon. Since July 1st, the White Sox have a F WAR of 2.5. That's the third best in baseball. And bullpen-wise. Yeah. Their K per 9 is 9.24, which is actually higher than Cleveland's, which is 8.57. So they have a better F WAR than Cleveland by just one, but Cleveland's 2.4. Tigers are near the bottom, minus 0.4. Their K per 9 is among the worst in baseball right now since July 1st. So if you're curious on know what their K per 9, Brandon, you want to take a guess what their K per 9 is since July 1st?
6.8.
Chris?
7.2.
Damn, that's right on the money, Chris. Did you look at that?
No.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Brandon was close, and I would just go up a little bit more.
Hasn't been good.
You did the Price is Right theme there. That was very well done there. So.
Yeah, I think like the Tigers' ERA looks okay in the bullpen, and it's been kind of fooling people. But yeah, they're still struggling.
The White Sox and the Tigers have the exact same record in the second half. They're both 23 and 24.
Yeah. I mean, the Tigers are basically like one game over 500 since early June, like maybe the second day of June or something like that. You can cut it up. Yeah, it's not going real great. They're and the White Sox offense obviously is picked up quite a bit. So, Colson Montgomery doing great, looking fantastic. And, I've said this a lot of times, but, we'll see if the White Sox can put together another 1-year run where they're a good team and everybody gets excited and then everything goes to hell and then they sell off again.
Yeah.
They're Chris. Seventh best offense since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
13 WRC plus. So, yeah, I mean, you wonder if it's just kind of a young team that doesn't know any better, or if this is the beginning of them figuring it out like the Tigers did last year. I didn't think the White Sox would get there this quickly. but they do have some good young talent. So it's interesting to see what they're doing over there.
Colson
Yeah.
Montgomery was a giant pain in the ass the entire weekend. I mean, he
Yeah.
really was just a guy that, and was it Chase
My
Mike
draw.
Roth.
Yeah.
Mygroff? That guy is a pain in the ass. Chris, you want to turn up your volume a little bit?
I don't know how to.
All right. Yeah, he was a giant pain in the arse. The defense the defense was really good by the White Sox too. White Sox had some outstanding plays in the outfield all weekend long, and so the Tigers really yesterday was kind of like a I don't know like a wet blanket. Yesterday was the ultimate wet blanket. Yesterday it was just
Hmm.
Charlie Morton couldn't do anything. Tommy Kahnle kind of looked back to what he was before, but they had him back-to-back outings. I think he pitched on Saturday, so it was kind of a yesterday was a frustrating watch. Out of all the games of the series, the weekend, I mean, Saturday was a pretty good, Scooble start, doing efficiency, doing what he does best. But I thought Sunday's game was much harder to sit and stomach through than Sundays or Fridays rather.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Troy Melton was wild. Was going all right for a while, and then melted down. Canley comes in, he's struggling. If you look back, just like the last, since they beat the Royals, and we were all like, okay, they seem to be back on track. Now they've lost series consecutively to the Mets and the White Sox, and they've scored enough runs. It's still the pitching. Like, we're basically running out, Park Skubal, and you have no idea what you're going to get from anybody else. Casey Mize has been probably the most consistent, but he's also like the one most likely to like really get him when he's going good. The way Flaherty and here and there we've seen Morton do it too. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling super great about the postseason. I mean, the season's been a success, but they really need a spark. They really need to get on some kind of a roll and find a couple guys contributing consistently out of the bullpen and the rotation. And there isn't a whole lot else to say. There's Jose Urquidy. We'll get to the minor leagues, but Urquidy pitched well. Paul Sewald has looked, pretty Paul Sewald like in the early going, but I don't know that those guys are going to come rescue you. So yeah, it's been frustrating for sure. And then I look around the league, and you also see like it just feels like every team that was doing well in the first half is kind of crumbling, and all these other teams are kind of bubbling up. The Mariners look like they might be getting a grip on the wild card spot, and now they've got the Rangers and the Royals and the Guardians all right on their backside, and things are going very, very bad in Philly. They've lost Wheeler, they've lost Nola, they've lost Bohm. Trey Turner just went down with an injury, although they say he'll return for the postseason. The misery factor around the league, I would say, unless you're in Milwaukee, is fairly high right now. So yeah, nobody's storming the gates here at the end. That's for sure.
Well, I do think Milwaukee has lost several relievers,
That's true.
so it's hard out there for everybody.
Yeah. That White Sox. The White Sox just seem to continually pull a bunch of dudes with a good breaking ball who throw 98 out at you.
Yeah.
In a way that the Tigers, are planning on doing, having drafted all these arms the past couple of years, but they're all so far away and so many injured. When that project might come to fruition, where we're just pulling guys out left and right who can do that. I don't really know. So yeah, it was frustrating. Ethan Katz continues to impress me as a pitching coach over there. Like there's so much like going against you in that organization, and they just seem to continually find some guys. Shane Smith has been really good, looks very good, and reliever wise, they always seem to pull a bullpen together somewhere along the way and pitch pretty well down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean the one guy that came out of it was like who the hell Winkelman Gonzalez, who they got from Boston.
Yeah.
And then what was it? I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Pleasant wasn't so pleasant on the Tigers. I mean, yeah that guy it was just one guy after another. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And they come out and just shove. And then Perez, at first on Saturday, I thought that Perez was going to get the best of him because he has recently, excuse me, and the Tigers were able to overcome it, but a lot of it was fly balls at first, and then they eventually worked them out. But still,
Yeah, that was a game where they were beating up on Perez, and as soon as the bullpen got in there, they didn't do anything. It was like 9 strikeouts and maybe 2 hits, maybe 1. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, It's weird. They're playing strange brand of baseball right now, where you can't count on any. As Brandon touched, you talked about, you can't count on any of the other pitchers outside of Scooball. Like none of them. There's no, and they lost Finnegan, who everybody was like, "Oh, thank God for Finnegan. He's the only one really keeping this afloat." And they're like, "Whoops." Yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be like a weird series of tryouts for guys in different roles, or bringing guys back from the IL over these next few weeks. And it would be nice if they could put together any kind of winning streak, but it's awfully hard when the other pitchers are going 3 innings every outing,
Right.
and that just puts a ton of pressure on your bullpen, which already isn't all that great. So I don't know. People are I think right to be a little bit negative and down on the team heading into the playoffs, but as I always say, you get in the playoffs, and not as I always say, as everybody says, anything can happen in the playoffs. I didn't invent that, and you have Scooball, and that's the ace up your sleeve right there. So you just got to hope that somebody else can find it here in the last 3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to believe this is all like a plan. They're just not showing their best stuff. AJ Hinch is just cooking something up, but I don't think that's what's going on. So yeah.
I mean, Friday when we were down there, I was down there Friday and Saturday a little. I didn't stay after for the post game things on Saturday, but the overall vibe about Finnegan, he was upbeat, talking to him a little bit. He felt optimistic, and he did the right thing. He said he felt it right when he was warming up, and it was just a precautionary move. And I'm glad that it wasn't anything arm related, so thank God for that. But Montero still pitched pretty good regardless of what happened.
Rafael.
No, sorry. Sorry. I should clear that up.
We're having a lot of confusion with that over at Blushy Boys.
Yeah.
Too.
So with the week, as Kevin said, Kevin was saying that Chris highlighted the Days of Roar. None of the pitchers that were traded at the deadline have really done anything. It has been the case, and go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, I mean it's basically Zach Littell was leading the pack, and then he had a rough outing, and then it was like, well, Shane Bieber, and then Bieber got blown up, and it's like, yeah, really, like, if you were trying to fix your pitching at the deadline, the Tigers took a shotgun approach and just got all sorts of people.
Yeah.
I mean, Cody Hoyer is still out there, but yeah, no, there wasn't that one big arm to go get. If it was Dylan Cease, right, or Mackenzie Gore, and neither of them have. Gore's hurt, and Cease isn't doing much anything. So it's
or Mason Miller, which apparently would have cost you Kevin McGonigal probably. So
yeah. So
no, and here's the thing too about Toronto. I mean, what was the guy Hoffman?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Struggling. I've had him on a fantasy team all year, and he's crumbled. A lot of guys crumbled down the stretch that way.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, who hasn't crumbled? Justin fucking Verlander. God damn it.
No.
Okay. That was something that I was looking at. I was doing a piece on 1-year deals. I was doing an Alex.
Pardon my French.
That's perfectly fine. For those who may not know, I'm writing for this new website called Tigers Roundtable, and it's like a roundtable is essentially a news in other words, it's supposed to be very similar to. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of a way to say this nicely.
It was kind of like Substack maybe, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, you download the app. I would say go ahead and pimp this thing out more, Raj. I mean, you're in charge of the Tigers coverage on that thing.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Like Chris Castanelli is gonna be doing videos on there as well at some point. But I'll put the link here. You download the app. You download the Roundtable app. It's really easy to do. You subscribe to whatever teams you want, and then you can chat in there. It's pretty cool. It's got a little message board feature. I'm going to do more. The more people engage in, the more I'll put on there, and I'll be putting stuff on there every day. I didn't put anything on there today because I've just been, the job search just continues on and what have you. So, but no, it's but what I wrote is that about Alex Cobb and him not being able to pitch, and I looked at the comparable deals. So I was looking at 1-year deals, Verlander and Scherzer. I look at Verlander's numbers. I'm like, same thing, Brandon. I said I had the same reaction.
Well, yeah. It's just one of those, the first 4 months of the season, you would look like, well, it looks like it's coming to the end for JV. And then he goes out and he's throwing 120 pitches and he's touching the high 90s. He's getting all sorts of strikeouts. It's like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah.
I think it's something we can talk about it whenever, right? But it is something that I think is worth discussing in the offseason. And, if we could sit down with Scott Harris, discussing with him is to say maybe not with these kind of old pitchers anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it works out. We talked about Matthew Boyd has seemed to work out for the Cubs, and you tried and tried, but Flaherty has been up and down, so maybe not with the young pitchers either. Same with Paddock, but just if you're looking for these stopgap guys, it's just not really working all that well. Lorenzen was fine,
Mhm.
but yeah, maybe target some of these guys in their later 20s and early 30s who aren't necessarily going to go out with a hip injury.
Especially if you're, yeah, I mean, they're at a point where they're expecting to be competitive and expecting to be there at the end, and it's a long freaking season. Like young guys don't hold up that well, let alone trying to expect someone who's 41, 42. But Verlander's just a freak, and he did miss some time, and there's probably nobody in the game who's like more like mentally like I got to be ready at the end rather than the beginning. And but would you have bet on him? Would I have bet on him? I thought the Tigers could like take a look because I didn't think he would accept a trade very many places, and so the odds that you would have to give up a whole lot were pretty slim. But I mean, it's just all fraught with peril because if he comes here and he's terrible, then you can't cut Justin Verlander. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cutting Justin Verlander to Detroit down in the middle of a stretch drive after trading for him would be pretty bad mojo. But I don't know. In retrospect, of course, it looks like definitely that would have been a lot better move than Morton. I don't think you guys were particularly excited about Paddock. Neither was I.
Yeah.
Like that was the move where I was like that felt really hasty. Like it just came out of nowhere. They gave up Jimenez, who is probably the best prospect that they traded at the deadline by a fair margin, most likely. I mean, I like Micah Ashman. I like Josh Randall to a degree, RJ Sales to a degree, but Enrique Jimenez is the one who was young and kind of talented and had the potential to really break out. And so far, he's done pretty well. I don't know that we're going to like regret it. Probably not. But yeah, for one reason or another, that was what they went with. And so far, it does not look very good. Paddock has never really struck out many dudes, and he had whatever happened in his family. They moved him to the bullpen. Like none of this is going according to plan. I'm curious. I saw that. Benetti and Dickerson uploaded a Scott Harris episode of Have a Seat podcast, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm very curious to listen to that and probably be mildly enraged at a few points. I would imagine.
Yes, I was gonna say, Brandon. I did listen to it. Stan sent it to me earlier, and I was listening to it. I was doing show prep, but I was doing one of these things like.
Yeah, I didn't listen to it yet either. So
what did this man say?
Yeah, so by the way, thank you, Adam, for the $9.99.
Exquisite.
That was when I was listening, when he talked about Paddock too. So he did talk about Montero, what they did to do the pitching and everything. And it was Benetti made a joke. He said, "What do you guys get alerts whenever a pitcher goes on waivers?" And he's like, "Do you guys get the alerts and then jump on them?" And he goes, and Harris says, "Yes." And everybody's laughing, but I think he was serious. Like,
oh yeah,
it's like the same. Like it's the same strategy that Chris and I do when we're ever like getting ready to do clips or watching a game. Like sometimes, for example, I know that Chris is watching or I'll be watching another game. And so it's immediately like right on that. But it was like, he's serious. And so,
yeah.
And even the one thing about Paddock too, that didn't make sense to me now, or didn't make sense now then, it still makes no sense to me now. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He hasn't been. And especially in a ballpark like Comerica, Comerica, you can say what you will about it, but we've learned this with Montero, as Samuel mentioned here, or I'm sorry, Deadly Ninja Bees with the slider, Kyle Montero's slider, which is the reason why they went after Paddock in the first place. After looking at Montero's numbers in AAA and looking at his numbers this year, his K per 9 was down. Mm-hmm. His slider was not doing the same thing it was last year. That's why he wasn't.
He's not throwing as hard either.
No, not throwing at all. He's down 2 miles an hour, I believe, when I did the research on it. So
yeah.
That is going to hinder anything that you're going to – that was the reason why he wasn't up here. And so that's why they went after Paddock. And, as far as what, Mitchell wants to know, does he think that Ty Madden's going to make an impact next year? Honestly, I don't know because we haven't – there's been no –
Yeah.
Well, he's on the injured list or on the injury report as, he's in a return to play pitching program or whatever that means. They haven't talked about him coming back this year, so not expecting that. It was a shoulder issue. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him next year. I will. I mean, it seemed like he was fully gone to the bullpen, and maybe with his shoulder issues, you don't want to mess around with it. But I don't know. I mean, the starting depth is a little bit thin heading into next year. I mean, again, this is stuff we can talk about in the offseason. There are a number of sort of interesting names who are free agent pitchers this year.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, and who knows? Ty Madden, we may have seen the last of Ty Madden. I don't want to be negative like that, right? But you remember once upon a time, Kyle Funkhauser looked like he was going to be a solid bullpen piece.
Yeah.
And shoulder injury, and he's kicking around. I think he's pitching AAA Oklahoma City. So you don't know.
Something was notable about all the guys that they traded was that it wasn't, there weren't any moves that cleared them like 40-man space or set them up to have an it was all young guys for the most part. So like all the sort of post prospect stagnator type guys from young, Malloy, Madden, whoever you want, Montero. Those guys are all going to be back next year, and if they're not contributors, yeah, you might see them end up having to release somebody along the way. I don't know that there's going to be like a massive crunch this offseason. I'm sure you guys have kind of started to take a look at the Rule 5 guys. Eligible this year, and we've both written about the guys that that I might go to the Arizona Fall League for the same reason. But at a certain point, it is going to be hard to keep all those guys if they're not actually doing something. And Ty Madden, was okay last year for the Mud Hens and still like striking guys out to a degree, but the walks and the home runs were terrible. And then you have a year like this, and pretty soon you're kind of 3 years removed from being any kind of an actual prospect. Now you're just an older guy who might be somebody's project, and I don't know how many of those guys they're going to end up keeping around. It's been nice, and we'll get to this when we get to the minor leagues, but like at least a few of the guys have started to come back. Like Jake Miller is back, Eric Silva's back. Like you're seeing a few guys like return. This Montalvo seems to be shut down, a few others, but it's not looking great in the pitching department right now. That's
No.
for sure, in general.
And there's gonna be a lot of guys who are hitting the minor league free agency that be gone. There's already been kind of like a rumbling about it. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, there have been guys in Erie for like 4 years now. I mean, Erie has been basically the same team. Give or take a handful of prospects coming up and leaving. I mean, just getting back to Paddock, like I don't think they were under any illusions that they were going to get a good pitcher from Paddock. I think they were hoping for like 2011 Brad Penny, right? Like just go out there and be a big lump on the mound and eat 5 innings. And he just hasn't been able to do that. It's just been, disaster factory out there at home runs left and right. And you're kind of stuck now because you gave up a prospect. You're probably not just going to cut him, even though I imagine like during the outings, they're like, So
I mean, he might not make the postseason roster. That's for sure. They don't have enough options. Yeah, they don't have so many options that they can just cut him loose right now. But if they get to the end of the line here and he's like, not one of the 14 or the 13 that's going, I mean, he's probably going to get cut loose. And I just figure they just made the simple equation of like, oh, we'll get him on a target field, we'll put him in Comerica, he'll give up less home runs. And that's like the only logic you could really find to it. And it hasn't panned out that way. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, when I look at the dimensions of target field, to me, it kind of has a vibe of, it kind of looks like Comerica. And in terms of like dimension wise, as far as like, if you look at it, where, I mean, center field's not as deep, it's 404 to center field, but it has kind of, I don't know, like that. It's a very pitcher friendly park, and so it's I don't know. The biggest thing too that I think that I find about this with all these pitching changes is too, why don't just those guys like, if you're gonna throw if you're gonna like just do this constant churning of pitching chaos, why not Troy Watson at this point? Why not, like, just because like Troy Watson would not necessarily be a bad idea either, but if you're gonna keep those guys down, Toledo right now is gonna finish the season over 500. Gabe Alvarez should deserve a giant medal for what he's done down there. That being said, why don't you just figure out what you have down there once and for all? With just, I know you can't technically because you still have Cleveland. Cleveland's giving it up, and they're still they're right in the thick of things with Kansas City as well. So
they're not going to come get us, but we could still end up in a wild card. Definitely. They don't have the second bye locked up at all. So
yeah. I mean, as far as like starter wise, Mitchell, I've looked at some of the starters that are out there for free agency, and it's not it's not looking really.
Well, I mean, you've
Dylan
got some
Cease,
names.
yeah.
You've got some names. You got Zach Gallen is out there. He's not had
Yeah.
a good year. They're interesting people like Herman Marquez. Feels like he's 40 years old.
Yeah.
He's like 31, and he's been in Colorado his entire career. It's like
Yeah.
what could that guy do if you get him out of Colorado? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not they're not like a huge big names out there, but it's kind of the sort of the depth of pool that the Tigers like to play on. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. And I mean, we all would assume, you're going to have Scooble, you're going to have, probably Melton is going to be in the rotation. You're going to have Olsen back, but now we're kind of at a point where maybe Reese Olsen is just never really going to be more than like a 100 inning guy. Maybe. But Reese Olsen isn't the type of guy who like maybe hasn't worked hard enough. Everybody describes him as like an absolute fanatic in the gym. You assume he's doing everything right, and it's not enough. So, yeah, and then it's like, yeah, you can bring Flaherty. Flaherty can come back for $20 million. I don't think he's going to do real well in free agency, so he will probably likely do that. No one's out there going, yeah, I'm excited as I talk about this. So, yeah, it's not looking real great, And Job is, maybe could be back late next year in some capacity, but I wouldn't really expect him starting in the rotation until 2027 when Scooble is gone. But we don't believe in windows, so
Yeah.
that's all good.
Well, I mean, I'm still even worried about the fact that the minor leagues right now, as far as like these go. Well, thank you. As my wife brings me cough drops, very well done there.
Wow.
But no, it is one of those things where I think that I'm more worried about the minor league depth right now, as far as like no timetables on Hall returning, Saflabom. There's a lot of those things where you're just like, who's going to pitch? Even right now, for another guy, Michael. I'm trying to blank the guy that
Massey.
Michael Massey. Still nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
he's been hurt multiple times. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
hurt basically when they had him, and then he got hurt again. Yeah, I mean, we touched on this. Like, there's some guys who are going to be out for most of next year too. Montalvo, I think, probably based on the one picture we saw of him that looked like he got in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Well, I don't mean that literally, but it was like
Right.
he had a cast on both his right arm and his left leg.
Oh,
So it was like, I don't know
That's
if we're doing the Casey Mize or Gibson Long, like 2 surgeries at once because we can.
yeah. Do it all while you're in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine Paul Wilson probably won't be back. He may be at the end of next year. He got hurt relatively quickly this year, but
Swanson too. Swanson was hurt really early, so maybe
Yeah.
sometime later next year. But
yeah, so we'll see some of those. But there's another group of guys that should come back, and there's enough of them now that you would hope 1 or 2 of them would pop. It happens every year. It's I don't know. We'll see. But a couple of them might just not come back at all. Might disappear. That's the way it goes with young pitchers. And then every now and then you have somebody rocket up at the end of the season, like Kelvis Salcedo.
yeah,
Yeah, and speaking of which, by the way, I wanted to show what Kelvis is capable of, and so the reason why we cut up these
He's the hero
starts.
to most.
Yeah, he is a hero the most. There's a reason why you get excited about this guy, because the more we see him, the more it's like, oh, well shoot, that'll work. That'll work just fine.
Oh yeah, it will if he can command it all. Yeah.
The last 3 games, the final, the 2-2. Swing and a
There you
miss.
go.
No score into the second. First pitch for hitters.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sex. Ooh, that.
Yeah,
Changeup got a lot dirtier.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, we first kind of heard about him. He was a name we saw. I didn't know much about him until Longenhagen.
Oh, geez, so Pete.
Yeah,
that was
a
ridiculous.
pretty nasty cutter. Yeah, it's and Longenhagen had him in his top 20 for the Tigers, but even then it was just, I think he only had him with a fastball and a slider. And you see in this video, like, that changeup is
Sick.
yeah, it's and then you see flashes of that. I mean, that's not a particularly good slider, but then you see the one at the end that's either a slider or a cutter, and it's like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a big kid, but he's throwing tons of strikes, and the fastball doesn't have like ideal shape to it when you look at it like metrically,
Yeah.
but they don't hit it like
Yeah.
in
It's
my
sort of-
scouting report. I said he misses barrels.
Yeah, it's sort of like a harder version of Flaherty's. It just kind of has that like slightly cut fastball look where it's not running at all really, but it just sort of bores in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good looking stuff for sure. but maybe it's also a sign that we're desperately
Yeah.
clinging to Kelvis Salcedo, who just got to Lakeland.
Yeah,
'Cause
it
there
doesn't
isn't
turn
much
20 until January. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the Tigers may send him right back to Lakeland. Although I think it looks like it's not a whole lot of a challenge for him right now. But
Yeah, and as yes, here's what we two said. His delivery is scary because he looks like he's throwing directly at the left-handed batter. No, it's
Yeah.
and the other thing too is that what plays out well for the Tigers with this is that they are able to, as far as Jake was wondering, since he threw yesterday, if he's going to, he probably will start game 2 or 3 of the playoffs.
well,
He
let's
only
see.
threw three. He threw 3 innings. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were probably priming him to pitch game 2 would be my guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think just looking back at who pitched about a week ago, like 6 days ago, 5 days ago, however you want to do it, it's either Jake Miller. He got drilled in the back with a line drive, so maybe not him. Probably Gabriel Reyes is going to start for Lakeland. But then Salcedo could be there for game 2 or game 3.
yeah. But Miller could also go because Miller's still in rehab, and look, Clearwater did that a couple years ago. They had a couple guys in the rehab that started.
Yeah,
And if Miller's back is okay, you could see him start a game for the Whitecaps and then go to Erie too, and finish there and try to get some more innings late in the season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, Lakeland's gonna take it personal, just like delete it, just like our sponsor, Delete Me, makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common throughout, enough to make anybody vulnerable. So, data brokers, man, they make profit off your data. Your data is valuable, just like the Tigers' minor league report data that we have stored away. Anyone on our web can buy your private details. That leads to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy. With Delete Me, what do data brokers do? Your name. What do? They collect your name, your contact information, all that stuff. So, as somebody who has an active online presence, privacy is really important to me. So, listen, if you've ever been a victim of identity theft, harassment, doxing, if you haven't, you probably know somebody has, Delete Me can help. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off when you Delete Me for your Delete Me plan by texting HIT to 6400. I have the code right here for you. The only way to get 20% off is to text HIT to 64000. That's HIT to 6400. Message and rest data rates may apply. So there you go. All information there for you. So there we go. That was a weird segue, but anyway.
No. It was well played, I thought. I mean, I'm just kind of poking around in the stats and stuff, and just looking at like the last 10 games. What I see is that like pretty much all the top teams have losing records in each division, like division by division. It's just kind of it's been a weird season because the second half has felt so completely different from the first half, and a lot of teams that were doing well are just kind of like stagnant. Who like the Yankees went 7-3 over their last 10, but the Red Sox 5-5, Blue Jays 5-5, us 4-6, Royals 5-6, Cleveland 6-4, Houston 4-6, Seattle 4-6. Nobody really storming the gates, like I said, to get to the postseason right now. So I don't know. I'm not trying to take too much comfort from that. I'm just sort of like the type of person who is like, once you get in there, hey, you just do your best and we'll see what happens. Like everything that is wrong with the Tigers happened like in the off season or at the deadline. And so we'll just take our chances. Like, the regular season is the best measure of how good your team is. It just doesn't matter anymore because now we have a big old tournament at the end. And that's just the way it is. But I don't know. It's hard to feel super pumped about the Tigers right in the moment, even though I think, we all feel good about the Tigers long term. Like you're gonna add Kevin McGonigal to this freaking offense next year. You're gonna lose Gleyber Torres. I'm happy with that swap. You might see Max Clark, you might see Brasinho, and then it's like, okay, well, you damn well better get the pitching right.
Yeah, no,
and they haven't been able to do it. So.
I was gonna say that's the worst part about it is, Brandon. Imagine if this team had a little bit more pitching, just a little, just enough to where they would have in terms of like a 6 or 7 starter to go, okay, you know what? And I think that they were expecting that with Montero and sort of Gibson Long, but even Gibson Long has been kind of quiet with media just because he's not really happy with his performance.
Mhm.
But even then, he's not been the same kind of. Excuse me, has not been effective.
He's coming
So
back from Tommy John.
yeah,
You had to kind of count him and Urquidy as like maybe they'll help out. Like, they're like little cards to play in your back pocket, but you can't just depend on that. And I don't know if they did, but they definitely weren't able to do enough for a whole variety of reasons.
so
Gibson Long, just to say, he made it through the Mets lineup once. Okay, right?
Yeah,
Like he gave up a homer to Alonso. That's happens.
yeah, that does happen.
And then the second time through the lineup, it was just a disaster. And
Mhm.
it's at a certain point, you're wondering like, what are they doing him a disservice by asking him to do this? But then it was clear that they were just kind of leaving him out there to wear it because they needed him to, which is a bummer. But sometimes that's your role. I don't know. I mean, they've had a couple off days now, so they don't need a fifth starter for two times through the rotation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we may see him start a game down the road. It could be Melton. It could be Urquidy at that point.
Yeah.
It could be Paddock again. I don't know.
Yeah. And there is space. Yeah. I mean, the schedule is not too dense the rest of the way here. They're going to have a day off each week and they can reset themselves then. So we'll kind of see. Who said that? Where was that? Something about Flaherty. Why isn't Feder catching heat? About Flaherty not using the high fastball more. I don't know. I mean, it seems like they try to use it. It's just that Jack Flaherty has a tendency to sail it when he goes up there. Like Jack Flaherty's problem is that he doesn't hit around the edges of the zone. He's either like getting you to chase way outside the zone, or he's getting hit in the zone. I don't know. I mean, that's certainly something they should probably be trying more because, I mean, the whole problem with him is his fastball, and it's just not that effective. But it's also not exactly like the buzzsaw riding, four seamer that is going to necessarily dominate guys up at the top of the zone either. I mean, I'm looking for them to try anything different with his fastball, and I just think it just comes down to him not commanding it consistently very often. Like throughout each start, he's like, okay, this inning fastball command good, this inning fastball command bad. And then he goes back to just dumping tons of curveballs in and sliders. And, there's only so far you can go with that as a starter.
You can't bore in on the left-handers at all. And if
Yeah,
you
you
can't bore
can't get in there. Yeah,
no.
yeah.
And if you can't, if you're doing the knuckle curve, and you that's what I think was one of the home runs he allowed with that knuckle curve that just you can snap one off every once in a great while, but if you keep throwing it, they're gonna sit on it and just hit it. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the golfer, one when it's down and in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even beyond Flaherty, you think back to how Charlie Morton looked in that start against the Phillies, where he looked great. He was throwing a lot of strikes. He's throwing a lot of elevated fastballs, and the Phillies were swinging and missing. Part of that is probably just the Phillies' profile. They do swing and miss a lot.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen him do that much lately because he can't command his fastball. His fastball command has just disappeared. And there's there's only so much a pitcher, you want the pitching coach to, he picked up on a flaw in the delivery or picked up on something and now it's fixed, or go out there and tell him to think of the infinite expanding universe or whatever to change his mind. But there's only so much a pitching coach can do.
Right.
The pitcher on the mound has to be able to execute that, and you would expect veterans like Charlie Morton and Jack Flaherty to be able to kind of self-diagnose at this point. They've got thousands of innings in the big leagues that it's got to be really frustrating to them too. It's a difficult thing to throw a baseball really hard in like little tiny windows, and sometimes it's hard to know what has gone wrong.
Yeah, and I mean they fixed Flaherty last year, basically by ditching the cutter and making some adjustments with his delivery. It's not like there's necessarily like a magic fix for it. I mean, we're big Feder fans, and this season has definitely been like a step back for the Feder is God and can solve all problems aspect of things. But I mean, that was a little bit played up just for fun anyway. They found some guys, fixed them up, got a lot out of them. But yeah, I just don't know when you're talking about a veteran guy, like how much a pitching coach can really do for them, because they should understand all this. It's good to have second pairs of eyes, but you're 30 years old, you've pitched in the big league since 2018 or something. I'm not sure that there's a radical solution that's going to be found apart from the off season. Like, they can put you through a whole training plan. I'm sure Robin Lund could have them do things to work on their delivery all off season, but in one bullpen session, I don't know. It's hard to make major adjustments to your mechanics that fast, according to everyone I've ever heard from, at least. I certainly never got remotely that far.
Well, I mean, like talking to some of the guys, like it's a process. They start getting like if Gabe Rivas comes around and starts making suggestions, they start tinkering with everything, and then they just kind of go. It goes from there. It's a whole entire whether it's throwing in the bullpen or not, or whenever they have the time, they're doing the drills. It's an entire different thing, especially if they're learning a pitch. But looking at, for
Yeah.
example, Flaherty does a lot of the cupping, so he's always like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, dry needling and dowsing rods or whatever works. You're
Yeah.
wearing, remember those the copper necklaces that helped
Yeah.
everybody.
The theta. Yeah. What is it? The fighting bands and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the
I mean,
Kabbalah.
Matt Boyd knows about all of this stuff. Matt Boyd was a distinctively far out dude as far as like trying every single thing.
Yeah, he was doing hyperbaric oxygen chambers and things like that too, I think. But no,
Yeah,
Brandon, I
like
don't know if
weird,
you dug,
weird sleep pattern changes and fasting and all those.
I don't know if you dug into because they were talking about some changes they made with Casey Mize prior to his last outing. I don't know if
Yeah.
you looked into that at all.
I did.
No,
I
not
did.
Did you, Rod?
particularly,
Okay.
Yeah. So I wrote an article about it on the roundtable about what he did in the bullpen. He threw extra in the bullpen longer than he normally does. And the biggest thing was, now I'm trying to remember what I wrote. But go ahead.
Was that like? Did he do that before the game?
Yeah, before the game.
Was he
Is
just
that why
trying
they
to
took
get
him
his?
out after like 69 pitches?
Oh, because he threw a lot. Was he just? Did he just raise his arm slot? Because that's the only thing I kind of like saw
Yeah.
looking at him was that
Yeah,
he was getting up higher.
Yeah, and he was working on some grips too as well. So that was something that he was working on. Let me find what I wrote. But
The splitter still really wasn't there for him in that outing. Like the
Yeah.
sliders were better, but the fastball was great. Like that was the best fastball command we've seen from him in quite some time.
the velocity was up too. The velocity and spin was up on that. So
Yeah, when he's 95 to 98 and he's spotting it down and then able to go upstairs, he's far more effective even if the splitter isn't there that day, which it seems to just come and go like that.
yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. When we talked to
Matt Boyd's out there on Goop at night looking for magic beans and whatnot.
Taint eggs.
Yeah. Oh, God, the jade egg and the taint egg.
yeah, that's what Mize was. Mize did some extra stuff in extra work in the bullpen. Usually he said that you only work on one or two aspects, but he worked on all three.
That's like Casey Mize. God love him, man. Like he's another dude. I don't know if he's quite to Matt Boyd's level, but he's a guy who he will work on everything and constantly work on it and tinker and fight and battle and do whatever he can. And the pitching, like acumen, I think is good, but the execution, or like it just feels like he gets on the mound and it just mystifies him. Why he's like the splitter just disappears.
Yeah.
It's like it's so
he
odd.
goes through all that and then it's 5 innings, 3 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, oh man, he's coming out in the first inning. The bases are loaded. There's one out, and he's just kind of puts his head down and gets out of it somehow, and then gives you like 4 more innings. You're like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
He's, I don't know. I look at him as like that's a solid number 4 starter.
Yeah.
There's things worse than that. He hasn't been pitching like that terribly well lately, but maybe he has, and we just got used to him kind of pitching at the all-star level in the first half.
Well, it's so funny too because I posted how his FIP was really good and Mark Garash just went off. I mean, what are you doing? Why are you kissing his ass? I'm like, I'm not kissing his ass. His FIP is good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what am I supposed to ignore that?
Yeah.
It's 2 runs. It's 2 runs lower than his ERA for Christ's sake. Look what the hell, man. Like I was like,
yeah, he's perfectly fine third starter. I'll even give him third starter. Like he's been all right. 3.87 ERA, 3.98 FIP. Like that's fine. We all know he doesn't strike out as many guys as you like, but his K walk is usually pretty solid because he doesn't walk many dudes. And he's been a little home run prone, but not uniquely, just average home run allowance basically. So, I mean, that's as good as we got right now. I mean, I guess here's my question: like in a playoff situation, who do you think has a better chance of like shutting down a good hitting lineup for 3 innings? Because it still kind of comes back to Jack, because you want whiffs, man. I mean, things might go Casey's way and they hit it at a few people, and you got Parker Meadows back now, which impacts the defense all around by allowing you to put Javi back at shortstop more and get Sweeney out of there, and McKinstry should be a better shortstop than he is, but he seems to make more mistakes there than he does other places. Javi's not, the Javi of old there either, but he's their best option. And then you get Parker in center, and that at least gives you, the best defensive unit you're probably going to put on the field right now.
Yeah.
And Casey needs that. But yeah, I mean, I still feel more comfortable with with Jack in the postseason. And I don't feel real comfortable either way, though. Of course.
Well, yeah, out of all of them, Flaherty generates the most amount of whiffs between all the pitchers that are in the staff, and so yeah, it's just a matter of what the Tigers how they're going to line things up. But I wouldn't mind if they just went ahead and did 3 innings for each guy. I mean,
Yeah.
that might be the case. That pitching chaos is just going to be the 3. I was trying to think of something clever with 3, but I totally lost my train of thought there.
The trifecta, the troika.
Trifecta. Yeah, the Triforce. The Triforce.
There you go.
Zelda. Well, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we too. By the way, yeah, Perez is making way too many running mistakes. He had a couple defensive miscues the other night, but then he's also hitting, so I'm not going to complain.
I know he's hitting so well, but man, Wenzel just has he just gets he's like a wild pony.
Yeah,
He gets the bit in his teeth, and he's got an idea. I'm going to do this and that, and then next thing you know, he's dropping the ball or rounding second, and then suddenly going back to second, even though it takes way longer than just advancing to third, and just.
I see.
Yeah. Hinch mentioned
Let the boy
Olsen.
watch.
Hinch mentioned Olsen, but there's highly unlikely.
He's throwing again. He's on his way back.
But chances of him, to the postseason.
Yeah, but they won't commit to anything. Even if he does come back, it's hard to picture him throwing in for any type of length.
Yeah.
I think as much as it would be great to have him back, and it would be awesome if Tigers make the World Series and Reese Olson comes in here and tears it up and is. I think they do have to think a little bit long term here. I know when you're close and you're going to be in the playoffs, you got to take your chances. But
well, the thing is, he did this last year, and then he came back and he just didn't look that good. He didn't look like himself, and it's pretty hard to not pitch for 2 months and then suddenly come into the game of your life and just deal. Even the idea of using him as a reliever, you have to be real convinced he's healthy and he's going to be able to control his sinker. So,
and in
I don't
point, if you want him to get live reps, he either has to do live BP or send him out to the Arizona Fall League. There's nowhere else he'll be able to play at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all kind of come to this conclusion. I mean, it's basically you're going to start Flaherty in game 2. You're going to have a quick hook. And then other than that, it's going to be Morton, Gibson Long, Melton, and you're going to use those guys 2-3 innings, maybe your Urquidy if he can get back up here and pitch, 2-3 innings at a time. And then you just use your relievers in between them. If one of them gets in a jam, you bring in the fireman. Mm-hmm. I don't really have any other, genius plan to operate with what they've got right now, but I would assume that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they'll just shorten up the game. That's what they're going to do. They use how the Yankees did back in the late 90s with their bullpen. Have the starters go 5 innings, and then you go use the bullpen for the rest of there, and you use your KD, who pitched decently in Toledo, who's been okay, and I think he's going to be a 3-inning guy. I don't think he's going to he's still coming back. He's still not going to be a guy who will go deep in games. So speaking of the farm moves, so Clayton Campbell, hot and ready list. A lot of hot and ready list guys. Diaz is on the hot and ready list, was kind of surprising a little bit.
I think he's just at his innings limit.
Yeah.
I think it's 65. Yeah, 65 innings this year or whatever, and they wanted to get some of the other people on the roster.
Yeah. As far as Sewell goes heading to Toledo soon, I think he's going to probably pitch in Toledo, probably by the end of the week. That's what I'm guessing. So
he was in West Michigan, not Erie. But
yeah.
I don't know. He's looked fine in both of his rehab outings. I think. I wouldn't be opposed to them just sending him right to Detroit, but I'm sure they want to get him another couple innings.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trick is once you call him up, he's there, and you got to be absolutely sure he's ready, obviously, because you can't just option him. So, yeah, and that's why that will probably take a little longer than maybe is absolutely necessary. But
yeah, there's it was funny too. It was weird because I saw Justin Henry Malloy after the game on Friday, hang out with his family, and then didn't realize that he was going to go down to Toledo the next day. So that was a little awkward.
I was surprised. I was surprised. I don't know what Trey Sweeney is just not doing anything for you. I really would have just thought they would just let Malloy, pinch hit some.
Yeah.
At this point, I kind of want to see Eduardo Valencia pinch hit some.
Yeah.
Just the hell of it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Toledo too, because Toledo, there's a lot going on with Toledo as there's now 2.5 back of Syracuse for a playoff spot. Is that right, Chris?
That I do not know.
I
I don't. There's six back of the. Is it
Scranton.
Lehigh Valley or Scranton? Was
Yeah,
it?
Scranton. Yeah, Scranton. Yeah, Scranton.
Yeah, I haven't into the playoff procedures that much there. I haven't, and I haven't been, listening to the broadcast. So that's possible. They've been playing well. Other than
Yeah.
it was kind of a rough week. I thought they could have used. Although you get Louisville coming in, and they've dominated Louisville for the last 2 years.
So
Yeah, I can't remember if they have two rounds now or not, because that takes them pretty close to the end of the season. Like I thought there were just two teams that would battle it out, in which case they wouldn't get there. But
yeah, I think with Toledo, I think they might be a little further back depending on overall standings.
yeah,
All right.
Yeah, but they
So
yeah, I think I don't know if they're going to be able to qualify for the playoffs. But that being said, though, however, be that as it may, their last home stand is this week against Louisville. It was funny, I look at that 2-4 record, Chris. Based off the offense, I thought that they went 4-2 because it was just like they scored 13 or was it 16 runs twice? Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
they
crazy.
went bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm reading the AAA first half winners each host a best of 3 LCS slated to begin September 23rd. The winner of the two LCSs advanced to AAA National Championship will be hosted in Las Vegas.
yeah. So they'd have to win the second half, which they're not. They're not going to do. They're going to win their division, but yeah, they're too far behind. Okay, so they're out.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kevin, there's never been. I don't think there's been 4 teams that qualified in the minor league playoffs. Tiger wise, three at most. I think 3 has been the most.
Three's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chasing Cardboard Tigers.
Did the
Sorry if I
complex
missed
league
this.
count?
I joined late. What is up with Jace Young?
Nothing new.
Yeah.
Like, it's the very same things that have been up with Jace Young for 2 years now.
Baseball America wrote a nice piece about him.
Yeah. They called him like the now underrated prospect who might finally break out, like a late breakout candidate or something. I don't see it, so I don't know.
It was just an excuse to write about guys who had bad seasons.
Yeah.
Or like former
Pretty much.
prospects who aren't living up to the hype. And Young has just, like Brandon said, it's just kind of been there. He had a good week, but he hasn't. Nothing that he's done this year has screamed, "Call me back up."
Yeah. He's still, he's just doing the things he always does. He walks a lot. He strikes out too much for AAA, and he doesn't do enough damage. He'll hit some homers for you, but he's not like strafing doubles, down the lines and hitting 20 homers, 25 homers. He did the 1 year, but this is how it goes. Kind of, you get up to the big leagues, and all of a sudden there's pressure, and you have to start making adjustments. And if it doesn't start coming for you, then there's just kind of nothing to say until there's a big breakout, or the Tigers just cut him, or ship him somewhere cheap. I don't know. He's going to get another year, I assume. Jace Young's not old. Like he's only about to turn 25, so it's not like it's over yet. Yeah. But he's kind of coming to like the crux of the biscuit here this offseason, where if something doesn't really change for him in terms of like bat speed, quickness, hitting velocity better. There's a couple things you could point to. Then yeah, I don't know how much longer I don't know. Scott Harris hangs on to everybody until he absolutely can't. But he's definitely getting shuffled deep into the 4A cupboard.
And and he's already been passed, honestly, on the pecking order, I think, by 3 people now.
Yeah.
How you Lee, I think they prefer Max Anderson. I think they probably prefer now, even though he's kind of Jace Youngish. And McGonigal, of course. So, yeah, who knows what's going to go on there. He's going to have to do something in the offseason to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, about AAA is, quad A player, chasing cardboard. But let's talk about Edward Valencia, because I did talk to Gabe Alvarez a little bit, got some intel based off what he did. He has lost a little weight. His swing is a lot quicker in the zone, which is why he's generating so much power, generating quicker at bats. Troy Melton, every time I see him in the locker room, he's like, dude, he's still raking. And he is, and he still is. And he's a guy who has really greatly improved his game. Alvarez talked about his defense as a totality. It still needs some work. He's good at framing, but could use some work or blocking rather, but he's good. He still needs a little bit of work at first base as well, which is new position for him technically, playing at a higher level. But Alvarez has been ranting and raving about him and as a right-handed stick, and he should get some consideration. And it's not like I don't think it's like 4A player. I think it's just a little bit like, there's something intriguing about it, at least, because it's been he now has the Tiger minor league lead in home runs, and he's been hitting plus ever since he got to AAA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, I don't want to say near dominating level, but if you look at the bat, it's get up there. I mean, it's over 300.
Pretty
And
dominant. Yeah.
yeah, pretty dominant. And here's the best part. He's hitting lefties and righties. It's hitting both sides of the plate. So that bodes pretty well for a guy that really just virtually came out of nowhere, because he's been a career backup his entire career. But
And he was in, he
Yeah.
injured basically from like 21 through 23. He basically got like one full season's worth of games. So he did miss a lot of time, which might explain why there's this kind of late surge. I think somebody pointed out there, like AAA pitching sucks. Well, especially this time of year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's entirely fair, because anybody who's worth a damn is up with the big league club right now,
Yeah.
or at least getting looked. So, I mean, that is something you have to keep in mind. But Valencia is doing damage, and he's shown selectivity. He's hitting the crap out of the ball. He's not striking out very much. So yeah, I mean, he's not 4A. He's like a possible bench player. Like a bench bat who, maybe is Spencer Torkelson's understudy or something.
Yeah.
Which is a different thing than Jace Young, who just doesn't have there's just no role, and he's about to be, passed by at his positions of, best utility already by Lee and soon McGonigal and such. Anderson.
I said it before, like what he's done this year is vaguely reminiscent of what Kerry Carpenter did 4 years ago, right? Where it was just like, this is not a prospect, and he just kind of bombed on the ball. I was looking, Carpenter hit 30 home runs that year and like 360 at bats. It was like 1 every 11, 12 at bats.
Yeah.
Valencia is at 1 every 15 at bats. It's basically 1 every 3 games. I do think he's got a chance to hit. It'll be really fascinating, because if he can't play catcher or first base, you're a right-handed DH, and that's
Dustin Malloy's job.
Yeah, that's a bad place to be. But I mean, I think he's kind of guaranteed himself a spot on the 40-man. Maybe not.
So.
He
might get traded. I could see them trading him if another team kind of really thinks he can catch or doesn't care. Maybe.
I mean, I think it would behoove, and who knows? Maybe they've already done this, and there's only so much you can do. But I feel like, you know what, man? Like, given this offensive breakout, you spend the entire winter just throwing fastballs at his feet and doing whatever you need to do to work on that catching to make him a viable big league catcher. If he can do that, and he doesn't have to do it every day, right? But if you make him a third catcher who can DH and play first base, and it's interesting.
Yeah, because there's going to be an opportunity next year. I mean, there's always, Tomas Nido played some this year. You're always going to need a third catcher somewhere along the way. And, Brusinho, Lorenzo, not going to be ready to catch, at least, next year. I wouldn't imagine at all. So, yeah, I mean, having him there kind of as your depth catcher at Toledo next year would be just fine. And hopefully he can just keep working on the transfer, working on his throwing, Yeah, and like Chris says, just set the machine to 100, and I want you sticking everything. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we too. Yeah, you say Thyron could be possible trade value. Yeah, there's something to be said about that for sure.
I keep saying these things though, and then I remind myself immediately, like, oh, but Scott Harris doesn't trade anybody. He's not going to trade.
And also, he's definitely not going to trade Lorenzo after this year. Like, you're trading at the nadir of his value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, we've waited until some guys got to the nadir of their value and still not traded them. That's what I think about when I think of, when we think of Jace Young and Malloy and those guys, what I think is like, why didn't you get something out of them? That's your job. If you're going to be captain value and tell me you don't have to make big trades or big signings and are going to win a World Series, like, you got to be right on all that stuff. You can't, we can't have this. We can't have you giving away a Willie Castro, signing Kenta, Alex Cobb, obviously.
So the Seawolves, by the way, will be playing Altoona this week, which is ironic because they'll be playing them next week in the playoffs. So you get 2 weeks worth of Altoona, as Connor Griffin part 1 is this week and part D is next week. And
Griffin versus McGonigal for all the marbles. And
McGonigal has struggled. 214 since August 1st. And a lot of times it's always call him up. He would be better in the offense. Here's where. What we do here at Tiger Minor Report is crush your dreams. We crush your dreams by being realistic about things. McGonigal is not ready, and I thought he was But the more I saw him, and after I saw him live, I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not gonna work right now, and that's okay. There's no reason to rush him whatsoever. But what was encouraging about this week was the starting pitching. They got some starting pitching back. Ham looked like the Ham we saw at West Michigan. Chris, I mean, I don't know what the velocity was like, but
Yeah.
hey,
You know, he wasn't super pitch efficient. That's why he only did with 4 1/3 there. But yeah, he wasn't giving up hits. He was getting swings and misses. It was nice to see toward the end of the season.
yeah, he definitely needed that. And as far as like the rest of Sears, kind of like the Jekyll and Hyde thing again, but
He's one thing I'll give him. You know, is early in his career and early in the season, he was walking guys, and now he's just like, nope, I'm
Yeah.
throwing strikes no matter what.
I'm pumping it in there.
You're gonna hit home runs or a bunch of hits off me, but I'm throwing more strikes. So
yeah,
whatever.
and he's in adjusting better to that crappy strike zone AA than most of those guys are because I'm sorry, the
It does
AA strike zone,
frustrate people. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of the worst strike because every time you watch a game in person or whatever the case is, you're like, what? Like even like without the box, it's imaginary box, you're watching that going, how the hell is that not a strike?
Yeah. I mean, we said this about Joe Ball last year,
Yeah.
like good. I mean, there was some of the worst umpiring I've ever seen for a lot of his starts. It just,
Yeah.
just kind of blows your mind. But yeah, it was nice to see him, coming on. Hopefully he can put together another good outing or two and finish strong. People wondered if he might be in the AFL. He's still going to get over 100 innings here, so I don't think so. He just needs to kind of get stronger, I think, over the offseason. And, I didn't get a good look at his velo either. I saw a couple 93s, and that's kind of where he's been. It would be very nice to see Jaden Ham get to where he's throwing 94, 95 and has 96, 7 in his back pocket again. The slider's shown little flashes of progress. The changeup has shown flashes of progress, but he needs one of those two pitches as well to really come on for him. So yeah, I don't know. It's just good to have him back and healthy and pitching well at the end of the season, or at least pitching decently. Same thing with Miller. Like you just want to get these guys back on the mound, wipe this year, and hopefully go into the off season with kind of a fresh slate. So
yeah, the Miller one is a bummer, man, because it's not unreasonable to think he would be pitching in the Tigers bullpen right now.
Yeah.
If he had a full healthy season.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't touched on all the details, but yeah, I mean, like the Tigers don't have a lefty. They have not one usable lefty in the bullpen, and they've their solution to this has been splitters and Tommy Canley's changeup, and
Yeah, it's not gonna work. And then
I don't want to see that against Juan Soto.
no, especially when Soto knows it's coming too. When Soto's like, yeah, come
Yeah.
on. No. By the way, though, somebody was asking about John Peck is still hit as a more than a utility player. Look, I think dare I say it? I think he played better than Jim Jarvis is. I mean,
he's got more offensive ability than Jim Jarvis.
Yeah.
Jarvis was kind of a glove first utility guy who was not going to strike out and put the bat on. Peck hits the ball hard as hell.
Yeah.
A lot of line drives,
Yeah.
not a lot of deep fly balls, but he sprays line drives all over the park. He's got some good speed. He's got a good arm. I don't know if he's a MLB level shortstop defender, which would be the key there, I think, for him to be more than a utility guy. Mm-hmm. But I think he can probably fill in there. So I don't see more than a utility player there, but he could be a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you prefer, if you're going to be a utility guy, you'd prefer he's a left-handed hitter or a switch hitter or whatever. But
he could be some kind of like Andy Ibanez, Jemai Jones hybrid, because he's got Jemai's power, but a little more of Andy's actual defensive utility, which Jemai doesn't have. And the Tigers are going to keep playing platoons, I assume, and yeah, there'll be a role for somebody like that. I just want to point out, as far as McGonigal goes, I think McGonigal's fine, and I just keep going back to the BABIP is 221 at Erie. Despite the line drive rate and the hard hit rate. So he just hasn't been there that long enough for it to sort itself out. But he looks fine.
Yeah. He looks fine otherwise. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but for people to have him say he's triply on the major league club.
Yeah. He's not going to come up and just mash. And of course, the other problem is that he's just not really ready to play shortstop in the majors yet.
Yeah.
If you saw him for 10 games, you might think so. But if you just kind of keep watching, you'll see more of the transfer mistakes and, little footwork issues and timing issues and stuff like that. And just, doesn't have the raw physical skills to make up for it as far as like arm strength and just natural, shortstop quickness. He's got some, but So I think that's more the thing. If he was playing shortstop, like, prime Javi Baez, I think he'd be in the lineup right now.
No.
No, but it's the same thing with with Trey. Somebody mentioned about Trey Cruz. Trey Cruz could find himself on a 40-man roster. May not be here though, just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he feels like if they don't protect him, he's going to be on Oakland like immediately.
Yeah. He
Over-
does
over-
feel very Oaklandish. Yeah. Mendoza actually feels like that type of player too.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked to have seen Trey Cruz just see what he can do. He's not going
I
to
think
hit
he's
a
going to
lot.
be just fine.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
The Scott Harris drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Trey Cruz, could be like a useful player for someone, and he is like super pesky.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy that you just love if you're like, the person who likes the really gritty, does all the little things, obviously like raised in a baseball family, timing pitchers, irritating them from first base, all that stuff that Mendoza does as well. But yeah, I just don't really see where there's a future for him
Yeah. Especially because, I mean, yeah.
here at least.
Yeah, here at least. But yeah, Oakland or hell, even Toronto. Or you know what? Colorado could also too. So.
He's going to end up in Miami.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, you join Dane Myers and all the.
Derek Hill.
Hill.
It was Hill in Texas now? I don't know.
Oh,
No,
maybe
no.
maybe he is. Maybe he was. I think he was with Miami, but yeah, maybe he is over there now.
Okay.
No, Derek Hill's with Miami now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
3 teams last year.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Miami's fine. He's on a home in Miami. So the Whitecaps, by the way, wrapped up both the first half and second half, and is the best team in the Midwest League, and they tied the 1997 team for the most wins in the season, 92 wins, and they will be kicking off the playoffs tomorrow at Lake County. We will be there Thursday. And tomorrow we'll be live streaming. So if you want to join us, we'll be doing that in Lakeland back and forth. So, Liam Hicks too. Yeah, Liam Hicks. I'm still. I don't even want to talk about that right now.
At least Liam Hicks can't really catch, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like West Michigan did this week, they took care of business, but 48-18, impressive record, 70% winning percentage. What were you gonna say, Chris?
No, it's just nuts. 48-18. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're gonna be live streaming just so the game follow on the game. I think we could watch the game without getting in trouble. So, come on by if you got nothing going on tomorrow. If the Tigers do take on the Yankees for starting a 3-game set, and there's no football on tomorrow, so there you go. Or is there football on now? I feel like the NFL's on every day now.
I think there's always a MAC game on somewhere, right?
Yeah, true. Central's gonna be playing somewhere, but no. As far as like the rest of Castillo's looked pretty good as of late. It looks like he's kind of figured things out a little bit.
Yep. Definitely looked better last time out.
Yeah, it's another one that's some of these guys who are struggling for most of the year. You just kind of hope that they can finish the year on a high note, and that gets them in a good mood heading into the offseason and something better next year.
Yeah.
Castillo, Reyes, Ham.
Yeah. Montero or Moncarlo, who's coming back at 96-97, should be interesting addition to the Whitecaps roster.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I was surprised. He's not a guy I expected to pop, velocity wise that hard. I mean, we kind of knew it had to happen. Like there had to be some kind of a stuff jump with him. But 96, 97 sinker with a better slider is interesting. Not exactly, shooting up to the top 100 yet, but that's all you look for is someone making progress this year. And after being on the injured list that long, that's a really nice way to finish the year. And hopefully he can help somebody out in the postseason here.
And in case people were wondering, the way the playoffs work in this level is that they want to make sure that both teams get at least one game. So you start on the road in these 3-game series. You start at Lake County. It's so they don't travel twice. And then the next 2 games, should they need them, would be at West Michigan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the West Michigan faithful should be a pretty good advantage there. Have you ever heard? Do you hear anybody talking about facilities ever, Chris? Like on other teams? It's just something I've wondered about since the Tigers focused on this, and obviously there's the benefit to your own staff to have the chefs and the workout facilities and everything looking nice. But is there? I don't know. Do other teams ever feel like a little bit of intimidation factor, like they're going into play like a fancier, nicer team that's got all kinds of amenities in their clubhouse, and like, man, we're we're bumming it out there wherever they are, Lake County.
I feel like was it Burlington? I don't think they play anymore. They were in the Midwest League. Was the Angels affiliate back in the day? They
Yeah.
played on like a high school field. Like it was not a minor league caliber stadium. And then they'd come to West Michigan. They can fit 8,000 people. Or what's the other? Is Dayton or Fort Wayne? One of those stadiums is really big and gets a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I do think
It's
it does.
Dayton. Dayton's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
It plays a factor. I think part of that was kind of taken care of a little bit, at least with the contraction where that
Yeah.
was, I think, the impetus between a lot of those, or the reasoning behind a lot of those teams going away was like, yeah, you guys, this is not up to standards.
You're not investing in this anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like Midland, for example. Midland, that was a bad facility too. It's gotten better, ironically, after they left.
When we started covering the Tigers, this is what people said about all the Tigers facilities. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the infamous, that they threatened to leave Erie because they, the facilities weren't there, and
field was a mess sometimes.
We'll say
yeah.
Erie was not caught off guard
yeah.
by that at all. They were that was kind of a wink and a nod to get the thing done so that they could get some funding.
Yeah.
There was another Midwest team too.
Beloit. Yeah.
Yeah, Beloit was, but there was another one.
Was not good.
There's another one too that I'm thinking of, and I think it was in Illinois. Was it the? It was in Illinois. I think I'm trying to remember now. I think it was the
Rockford.
yeah, or something like It was like something like I think it was another team that was just did not draw well at all. I'm trying to think. It was the old. Was it the Cedar Rapids? It was the Twins affiliate.
Cedar Rapids is still there.
Yeah. But
Colonels.
but the Colonels are kind of barely. Yeah, I don't know, but no, you know what, Brandon, to answer your question too, I did hear some as far as Dayton goes, or Daytona, or no, I'm sorry, Dayton. Yeah, it is Dayton for the Dragons, but overall, some of the Reds facilities are not up to snuff at all. I was talking to Clay Snowden from Just Baseball about that.
Oh yeah.
The Reds are kind of inconsistent when it comes to facility wise.
The Reds are
Clinton
weird.
Lumber Kings.
Oh,
Yeah, Lumber King. Yeah, Clinton Lumber King. Thank you. That's who it was. The Lumber
Oh,
King.
yeah.
I couldn't think of it. Yeah, that was one where they really were kind of
The Kane County Cougars.
Yeah, Kane
always
County.
seems
Yeah. There we go.
Remember the South Bend Silverhawks.
Yeah.
That was before the Cubs bought them, but
Before the Cubs put all the money into that. I mean,
Yeah.
and there is a considerable effort for, I was mentioning about Midland, where I think it was Battle Cats. Remember that was the Battle Cats. That's who it was. That was an old A's affiliate too. But Battle Creek. That's what it was. Midland, not Midland. Battle Creek.
no, I mean the Michigan Battle Cats did play in Midland.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
did they?
Yeah.
Well, why am I thinking of who played in Battle Creek then? I thought it was
The Battle Creek, they may have played there as well. Let's see. The Battle Cats, they started in Battle Creek, and then they also
2002 ended.
they were talking about
Oh, that was
yeah.
the Astros and the Red Sox. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was for some reason the A's, but anyway, at any rate, congratulations to West Michigan, 92 wins. It's impressive, amazing, and this is a team that could be a AA affiliate one day. I really think that this is a team that could AA or AAA affiliate.
Yeah, you were the first one to bring that to my attention. I think maybe Hasty mentioned it to us, something like that. Just the expansions and the stuff that they're doing in that stadium. It could host a AAA team, and Grand Rapids should be a AAA city, right? That's a pretty big city.
Yeah.
It used to be. It used to be the CBA, and they used to have the CBA franchise, the Grand Rapids Hoops. They used to be. Right now, I still think they have the gold, which is the Denver Nuggets one, and they were Arena Football League, the Rampage and what have you. And so, the Flying Squirrels, by the way, they're changing. They're moving to a new facility next
Richmond,
year.
yeah.
Richmond Flying Squirrels. But no, Grand Rapids, I think is especially strategically closer to Chicago. So
It'd be really tough, AAA wise, though, to leave Toledo after. There's the history.
no, true,
we're-
but it doesn't mean the White Sox couldn't leave Charlotte. If Charlotte becomes a major league team,
That's
Grand
true.
Rapids, Grand Rapids is right in your backyard.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
You know.
Nobody wants to hear that right now.
No, but there's a lot of Chicagoans that live Chicago. There's a lot of fans and White Sox fans that are in Grand Rapids.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Chicago's really invaded the west side of the state over the last 15, 20 years, all the way up to Traverse, as everyone is aware, and Sheboygan.
So-
and Godmother.
here's the plan. If the White Sox take West Michigan, then the Tigers high affiliate will just play in Comerica. They'll just split time. We'll get all the Statcast data, and this is good.
Yeah. Or
They
the
should,
or
they
the
should
little
put him in
people,
Sarnia. Put it. We
There you
should
go,
put
yeah.
this team in Sarnia.
or Lansing. I mean, the A's might move and take
Yeah.
over Lansing.
That's
Lansing,
probably more
yeah,
likely. Yeah.
it makes more sense to me in that regard because that's like a straight shot out off 96 or shorter distance. So, but let's move on to Lakeland. And Lakeland will be, like I said, we'll have them tomorrow too. We'll be splitting duties. There's a lot of things to like about Lakeland that are, in terms of pitching wise, there's a lot of guys that continue to make their debuts too. Warwick seemed like he figured things out a little bit. Still check it out, but nevertheless, a good week for Lakeland, and they have their against Clearwater, which their announcer. Oh man,
Yeah, he's a tough listen.
yeah,
Good.
Hawk Harrelson-esque
Yeah.
sort of homerism combined with not terribly good at announcing.
Yeah.
So
And like, look, no one needs to take it the way you're taking it because it's low A, buddy. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So, is there anything you guys want to add about Lakeland real quick, or were we?
well,
we
just
already-
yeah. I mean, we kind of hit on some of the pitching issues. I mean, they've got some guys who are hitting. Like I mean, there's at least an interesting lineup for that level there. Not really like that exciting on a prospect scale, but Rustich, Hurtado, like they've got some guys who can hit and get on base and provide some power. Tillian, McDonald, and they've got some pretty good bullpen arms, so they should be set up to do well. It's a crapshoot, short series, kind of a postseason. But like you say, I mean, it would be good to see like Reyes and Salcedo in the postseason dominate. Like Gabriel Reyes was supposed to pitch their game last year, and like I think he started,
yeah.
and it was like one inning, and then it was like a downpour for 2 hours, and he got washed out. So it'd be kind of nice if he got a chance to redeem himself a little bit. He's been pitching better lately. But yeah, that's about it. There's nothing crazy exciting. It's they're feeding some guys in now. And we've seen some of the prospects. We've seen Goodman, we've seen Dumasnell, and some of those guys doing some things, which they should do as college players coming to Lakeland. But nobody exactly tearing the world apart yet either.
Yeah, no, you're right. If Reyes would have pitched last year, if that game would have won it normally, I think Lakeland would have won it. Period.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So
That's revenge time.
He was rolling. He was rolling about then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think he was coming off like a 10 strikeout game or something
Yeah.
like that. Like he was just killing them with his slider and changeup.
kill him softly.
It'll be fun. It'll like you said, like you don't watch that lineup now and go, oh, look at all the prospects. But that's kind of what the organization has done over the last few years. Is if they don't have prospects, they at least have guys who can play baseball. Like they're quality baseball players. Bo Ankeny is out there making his pro debut and looked pretty good this week as was he the 15th rounder, first baseman.
Yeah, and they've done the thing, picking some guys up out of indie ball who are a little older. We saw Patrick Lee last year, and Pennington. There's a few, so they've got some guys who can kind of bang that way. It's just too bad, not to be able to see like Frenier Bermontia and obviously Bryce Rayner. Like, not that Rayner would necessarily still be there if he'd played the whole year, but it just didn't go the way we wanted as far as the upper level prospects. So.
Gage, by the way, if they get Gage Wood, if Gage Wood look really good.
But even if they get him, they're not getting him for more than 3 innings, right? Like he's a college pitcher. He threw 2 innings in his first outing. He's not going to come out and like shove for 7 innings. But it'd be a bummer. But like I said, they can come back with Jake Miller, who's not Gage Wood, but he's been to Double-A and is a pretty good prospect in his own right.
Yep, and is much more likely to spot his stuff under a little pressure. So yeah.
And so that's basically it. And that was our August top 10s there. So
did you guys watch Kale Wetwiska this week? I kind of missed that one. I kind of wanted to see him, but I didn't look.
I did. I have half of it cut up, and then I got sidetracked with everything. It still remains very interesting. Like he cannot locate right now at all. Right. It's just. But he, like in both outings, he's managed to get himself in all sorts of trouble and then somehow wiggle out of it with a bunch of strikeouts. And it's like, if he can get the command under control, it's a really nice arm, and you see why they gave him some money. So I can put that together and throw it out there just because. But yeah, it's not like it's not the sort of thing where you look at it and your eyebrows, fly off your head. But you see it there. It's just it's raw.
Yeah, the command, what I have seen from him, excuse me, the stuff does move. Everything moves and dances a lot, but it's a matter of just getting command down. That's really about it. But I can see why the Tigers drafted him based off his profile.
And as far as that question, like, how's Carson Rucker? I mean, Carson Rucker, obviously he missed so much time last year and he was coming out of high school. So it wasn't too surprising that he really struggled in the first half. He has been better. He's not exactly tearing the place apart in the second half here, but making more contact. Swing decisions look a little bit better. But, again, like, sort of just like this is the year that you would have been accepted, you would have accepted more last year. And we kind of hoped, by the end of this season, he'd be picking it up and putting it down a little bit more. I don't know how you guys feel about him going to the AFL. I'm not sure if he might be a little overwhelmed, but he definitely seems to also need more reps. So I'm kind of like, maybe. I don't think he's going quite good enough for that yet. But
yeah, I hadn't considered him. That would be an interesting one. He is a guy that it was weird because he hits the ball hard pretty frequently. It's just never over the fence. He's got, I think, one home run, and it was off a position player, I think. And he
a lot
looked
of
really
line
rough
drives, but not pounding it in the air very much.
He looked really rough on defense early in the year. He's picked that up now. He actually, there's still errors, right? But he's like making a lot of nice, ranging to his left, making nice running throws, coming in on the ball. So
seeing the
I've
arm
seen
strength.
progress.
Yeah,
It's progress. It's slow, and he's a guy that like you keep in your mind, keep on the back of your prospect lists or whatever. He could pop. He could just be this guy. But I don't know. You see a little bit of the aptitude there.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We did not address the elephant in the room with Cobb not pitching.
Oh,
Dude, I gave up on Cobb pitching in May.
Yeah,
So,
we were all on that camp,
yeah,
so.
I have not paid much attention, to be honest. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I made it down to Comerica on Saturday. I haven't been down there nearly as much as I want to this year. I feel bad about that, but it's getting a new job and being halfway around the country all the time.
Yeah.
But I finally was able to get down there. I wanted to get down there earlier, but traffic sucked, so I missed like being able to wander around the locker room. And I kind of followed Petrie into the interview room, and all the beat writers are crowded around like a little monitor, and it's Alex Cobb talking. I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh, all right. I like as soon as it clicked with me, like, okay, this is he's not like this is it. And you could hear in his voice that he was really disappointed, and he just sounded like a good dude. Honestly, like like he really, really tried. He was pitching through a hell of a lot of pain, kept trying. And in the story of how it happened, he said he was fine, and he just woke up one day and it was gone. Like he just
and it was the other hip. Like he had that
Yeah.
work in the left hip, and then like the right hip developed arthritis, and all of a sudden it just kind of all crumbled on him, and the right hip is just slipping, so he's got to get resurfacing. But I have to say, like, the fact that none of us have seen him, like, I like Alex Cobb. He seems like a good dude, and it was like a stand-up statement, but it was also like, dude, maybe just go away.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? Like fans are not interested in hearing, like how hard you tried and that Scott Harris had every reason to think this might work. Like, I don't know. From his perspective, I understand why he had to say it after a long career, and he's had a long career and he's always been a stand-up dude. But at the same time, it was just sort of like, nah.
Yeah, well, yeah. If he doesn't do that, then you're like, oh, he just took the money and ran. Like, like he's in a no-win situation there. I think you want to at least come and explain your rationale and why it didn't work out. And
that's fair. I just don't think anybody wants.
Nobody wants to hear it. But I think most people had given up on him long ago, right? It's unfortunate, but I was talking to my dad was a runner for most of his life. When I was a kid, we would go to other cities so he could run in marathons and stuff like that. And then in his mid 30s, he started having hip trouble. And I always said, it was probably because of all that running. But no, he insisted that it was a genetic thing. And by the time he was like 50, 55, he couldn't run anymore. And his walking was like horrific looking. Like, I don't know how to describe it. He looked like he was dragging one of his legs along for the ride. Like, but he's a guy who's always needed that exercise. Like that's his sort of self-healing. So he kept hiking through the woods looking like a bum, and then he finally he refused to get a hip replacement because he was like, those, that you have to get them every 10 years, they break, and it's a disaster. And then he found out about this hip resurfacing thing, which was relatively new.
Yeah.
This is 25 years ago, basically, when he got it. He got both of his hips resurfaced at the exact same time.
Oh,
And what it is they put like a giant metal screw or kind of bolt in one part of your hip in this sort of cup on the other one, and now it kind of rotates in that.
so
and-
that's the ball and socket now.
Yeah,
because the ball has technically worn down. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's made out of cadmium, or I don't know what the hell it is. But he was within a week he was able to put all his body weight on one of his legs and stand there fine. The other one took like 6 months, but at the end of that 6 months he was back to running again, like multiple miles a day. And
wow,
that lasted for another 15 years or so. He still hikes like 5-6 miles a day.
Nice.
So there's a future for Alex Cobb. Not that anybody's particularly worried about that. He's probably going to be fine, healthy. I
do want him to be healthy and a happy dude who can enjoy his family and a fine career and many millions of dollars and go do his thing. Yeah, my dad had knee replacement too, and was real scared that it would never come back, and that was like 12 years ago, and he's still out playing golf at 78 and stuff like that. Not moving great. We're getting better at this stuff.
Why are we killing Benny from Toledo?
No, because you said the screw you, so I was just thinking about the screw.
I said screw you. Did
you
I?
said you talked about the screw inside him, so I just thought of
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry. He'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but anyway, yeah, like I don't picture Alex Cobb pitching again, but
no, I would really, for whatever it's worth, I would advise that you not, Mr. Cobb, go do something else.
Yeah.
Enjoy your young family and
don't ruin your hips and suffer through your 50s and 60s and 70s.
The quote that Evan Petzold got was really good, and look, the bottom line is that you can blame. The angle I took was you can blame Harris, you can blame whomever you want to.
Blame Harris.
You can blame Harris, but not Cobb. Like Cobb
Yeah.
didn't know what was gonna
He
happen.
did everything. He did everything he could to get back. I mean, we saw what he looked like on the mound. Like we've been talking about this all damn year. He looked like he was in a lot of pain and fighting through it like an absolute dog. But we saw this in the postseason last year too when he came back for the Guardians. Like he wasn't moving very good. Like was still throwing okay, but here we are.
And I don't know. Like ultimately, you blame the person who made the deal and it didn't work out. I do think sometimes things, even if you have a good plan, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Franklin Perez was a pretty good pitching prospect and just blew up as soon as he got to the Tigers, just over.
Yeah.
We blame Alavila for that because he was the one who made the deal, but ultimately there's probably nothing he could do about that. That was probably the best arm he could get.
There was enough research there. That was
not much you can do about Austin Meadows either. There's just things that are beyond your control, of course. But giving him $15 million when no one else wanted to sign him, when you could get, I just want to say like the injury stash idea as a concept is a great one because it just allows you to extend your roster with guys that you can immediately put on the 60, and maybe this guy comes back late in the season. Or Urquidy, great idea, loved it. It just didn't, It was just $15 million for Alex Cobb, and then it never really seemed like it was gonna work. So not a good decision at all.
Yeah, and people were wondering about what about Verlander, Scherzer. The thing is that if they wanted a reunion, that would have happened, but they didn't. I don't know what the interest is, So that's where it's like that's where I kind of struggle with is that this.
There's things we don't know. I mean,
exactly.
We know Justin Verlander doesn't want to rerehash things and come back. I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
he's not going to say it. That's for sure.
Yeah, until you get a tell-all book 5 years from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Him, So, yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like just to finish with Urquidy there. It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with him. If he comes up and looks okay, he's got a $4 million option next year. Would they bring him back and try to make him a starter? I mean,
should bring him back and do something for $4 million. Yeah.
There's worse ideas. $4 million. That's like you're gonna pay Jake Rogers $4 million next year, I think, to be a backup.
Yeah.
So.
And we, I talked to Jerry about this on X. I still want to say Twitter, but yeah, I mean, he hit 21 inches of induced vertical break once. He averaged 18. He used to average more like 19, 20, which was why his fastball was so effective at 92, 93. But, the velocity was there, and he did show some of that. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's a decent plan to pick up cheap. I mean, as a cheap stash, he just makes more sense to me than Cobb really ever would have.
Yeah.
And they're going to probably need to do a bunch of that because I don't really see them going out and, targeting an ace to sign or anything. So, we're kind of going to be dealing with a lot of the same guys next year.
Chris Bassett coming.
Yeah. Chris Bassett. After all the times we had Matt Boyd, this was the one year we didn't go back and get him. Brutal.
Let's see.
Really quick, I also want to give my condolences to Dan Dickerson's. He mentioned this on the podcast. His mother passed away.
Oh yeah.
So
Dan, yeah.
yeah. So just want to give my condolences to Dan and his family. I mean, that's why he stepped away. So but yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. If you listen to the Have a Seat podcast, he'll mention that. So. But also speaking of that, by the way, Greg Gagna was on the Tony. Speaking of podcast appearances, rather, Greg Gagna was on the Tigers Today podcast with Tony Paul. Chris is going to be on Days of Roar, and I will be on Foul Territory with the Cody and Gary.
Cannot get away from us.
All right.
Yeah.
Everywhere you turn.
I asked Evan. I straight up asked him, Evan, like, are you trying to take Chris away from me? What's going on here? And he was like, no, and I'm just like.
You guys are doing good. Foul Territory has never contacted me.
They're Jumana K-Ruse of podcasting.
But yeah, but anyways, I just want to pass those things along. But yeah, Brandon, what do you want to pimp on your site?
We're just messing around, to be honest, trying to figure out this new WordPress business. I don't know. I've got a few, I've got prospect articles coming. I'm writing about like the post prospect stagnator types right now and some of the pitching prospects that came up at the end of the year. So I've got that coming. We're taking a look at Jack Flaherty and just trying to figure out if there's anything they can do. My buddy Alex has a piece up on Tarek Skubal and like what it would take for him to win the MVP award this year, which is just kind of a fun way to like break down how good the best players have been and how hard it would be as a pitcher to crack the wall of Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge. So we've got that going, and that's about it. We're just kind of vibing and praying the Tigers can catch a spark here a little bit.
So I have a piece on Derek Skubal, Cy Young thing I'm going to have work on for the roundtable. That's going to be out tomorrow. Also, the playoff preview, Matt Wilkinson, as somebody mentioned, Jake mentioned, Tugboat is going to be pitching for Lake County. He gave really good starts against the Whitecaps. So he'll be on the podcast, or not the podcast. He'll be pitching tomorrow. So I'm not sure who's West Michigan starter is going to be, but either way, join us for our live stream starting at 6:30. We'll probably have both games on at the same time, and we too. I gotta figure out what you did in the past because that sounds like you were a sponsor for the Winter Media Show. Oh, it sounds like a big time there. Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell us more, We Too.
Yeah, it sounds like We Too it sounds like a name that we have to talk about offline there. But nevertheless, we'll be and then I'll have a written preview for the Whitecaps and Lakeland ready for tomorrow. So there'll be plenty of content coming out for you. And don't forget to check out Chris's Arizona Fall League piece that is out on the website. So it's done really well. So thank you for everybody who's checked out the work.
The other thing I'm going to do is start unpacking all the other AL contenders and just seeing how we stack up. So you can look for those coming in the next week or two. Yeah,
that's going to be that's something good call there. That's something
I'll probably be doing that. Yeah.
And I also going to do a little more work on Jamal Jones and see what the kind of impact he had. I did a piece on Winslow Perez as probably being the next full-time hitter and sticking the lineup in. So, So We Too says we were the pioneers of digital technology for sound effects and music, video boards, and some technology.
Ooh. Wow.
Nice.
Armin Carden, very good.
Yeah.
Keep it close, everybody. We'll be talking to you later this week for more Metrics on Thursday. Hopefully. I know Uper said that Uper texted me earlier that the Packers are playing on Thursday. So if Uper, we'll see how it happens. As the Tigers set their series in the Bronx. So for myself, Brandon, and Chris, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Night, guys. Friggin' Upers.
Screw the Packers, by the way.